Texas Caviar. Some people call it Cowboy Caviar. We call it Texas Caviar. Whatever you call it, this is a fancy appetizer that we love making in the South. Hi, my name's Christina. I'm with eatingonadime.com. Welcome to my sister Carrie's kitchen. My sister Carrie and I are on a mission to help real families eat at home, even on a budget. And we love making easy, simple, and still delicious recipes. I have linked today's full recipe in the description below, so make sure you check that out. If you've never heard of Texas Caviar before, what it is, it's a really fun dip full of all sorts of delicious veggies and beans, and everyone loves it. Do not be intimidated when you look at the ingredients list. It's really not hard to make, and it's always the first thing to go at parties. Okay, first we're gonna make the dressing. This goes on the dip, so I like to mix it all together in a separate bowl so that it's all fully combined. So let's get that started. First, you want a half a cup of olive oil. Everybody give a shout out to Rosie today. She's talking to everyone. If you guys do not know, if you're new here, Rosie is my sister's puppy. My sister has Rosie and I have Rio. They're both almost 9 months old, so give a shout out below. All right, so we have the olive oil in the bowl. We're gonna do 2 tablespoons red wine vinegar. And then we're gonna do a little bit of salt and pepper. A little bit of cumin, of course. You can't have anything with the word Texas in it without a little cumin, right? We're gonna do 1.5 teaspoons. Perfect. Oops, I bumped that. And then we're going to do a little bit of lime juice. Now, I recommend fresh lime juice. This one's a little hard, so I'm just gonna roll it real quick. You need about 2 tablespoons. I'm just gonna eyeball it here with this. That's what's great about this recipe, is since it's a nice dip, you can definitely eyeball it. So I'm using this lemon squeezer. It's awesome. It's a game changer. I've linked it below for you guys. I think that will do it. That looked like plenty. It's quite a bit of juice. I think that will be awesome. So we're just going to want to whisk this all together to make a dressing that we're going to pour over the dip once we get all the veggies chopped up. So whisk it together, and then we're going to set it aside. Now we're gonna add the beans and corn. So what you wanna do is get a large mixing bowl. We're gonna add the beans, corn, and all the veggies and mix them together. So for this recipe, I love using a can of black-eyed peas, a can of black beans, and then a can of corn. So first, we do wanna drain and rinse these before adding to the bowl, because 1, you don't want all that liquid in there. This is a dip. And 2, it just helps remove that extra starchiness from the beans. So just get out your strainer and you can dump them in the same one, and we're gonna get them rinsed off. So just put it in your strainer, and then I like to use my hands to kind of move them around just to make sure they get well rinsed. Because we're gonna eat these as is, we're not gonna cook them, so you just wanna make sure that anything is off of them before adding them to the bowl. So now we're gonna add our peas and our beans right to the bowl. Now, this bean combination is great for this recipe. If you want to switch them out, you can. I think that a kidney bean or a pinto bean would work great, but if you're nervous about it, just try it out first before you switch it out. You may just love it. Now we're gonna add a can of corn. So this is a 15-ounce can whole corn. We like to use sweet corn, but you want to drain it all, because again, we don't want the liquid. So when I drain corn, I just take the lid off, and then I kind of hold it at a little angle to catch the corn, and I drain the liquid off, and it gets most of the liquid out. Okay, perfect. It looks great. And then we're going to add this to the bowl as well. Make sure I didn't get any residual liquid, and we're looking good, so that's awesome. Okay, so now we're going to get the veggies chopped up and get them added next. Now it's time to add the veggies. So for this recipe, we use red onions, red bell peppers, green peppers, and of course, a jalapeno. So first, let's talk about the red onion. I know it's kind of purple, but it's called red onion. I didn't name it. It is what it is. We use a half for this recipe. Now, I do recommend a red onion. it adds a sweetness to this dip that really counteracts the spiciness from the jalapeno, and I love it. If you just hate red onion and you cannot have it, I don't understand that, but I support you, and just leave it out. It's fine. You could use maybe a yellow onion or a white onion. It's not going to give you that sweetness that this is going to give you, but it'll still taste good. Okay, so for chopping my veggies today, I'm using this veggie chopper. My sister got me onto it. It's from Amazon. I'm going to link it below. It's a game changer in the kitchen. It really saves a ton of time chopping veggies. You just put it in there and it chops it, and then it puts it in this little jar for you. So we're going to do half this red onion. I'm going to save this for another recipe. Now, when we do onions in this chopper, we recommend that you quarter it. I'm going to save this out. And then place the quarter point side down right into the little blades to make sure it gets all the layers diced evenly. Set it on top and then press, and you get beautifully chopped onions every single time. So we're just going to do this other half. Chop. Now let's add the peppers. So we're just doing a half of each of these. So I'm just going to run my big knife. This knife is linked below if you're in the market for a new knife. It's awesome. Just down to get the edges here. Get about half of it. And then I like to take out the membrane. Some people, it doesn't bother them. It doesn't bother my sisters much, so she usually doesn't worry about that stuff, but for me it kind of bothers me, so I take it out. And then to use your chopper with bell peppers, you just want to make sure that you chop the pieces big enough to fit. Like this one's kind of big, so it's not going to fit, so I just dice it. And you want it to be flat in there, so when it gets chopped, it's all nice and chopped. Perfect. So you could quarter those slices again, and it works great. I'm going to put the skin side down on that, see. I find the skin side down works a little bit better, getting it all the way chopped through. Okay. And I'm just keeping it in there with the onions, and I'm going to do the same thing with the red bell pepper, or the green bell pepper. Sorry about that. And if you love bell peppers, you could probably just go ahead and throw in the whole thing. That would probably be fine. The more the merrier. I'm just getting the seeds out of there. This is a sink over here, if you're new to this kitchen space. Okay, dice them into pieces and put them right into this chopper. There we go. Sometimes you got to put a little elbow into it. That was the biggest learning curve for me on this chopper, is just, you got to be not afraid to put a little elbow grease in there. Get your aggression out in the kitchen. Woo! And now, last but not least, we're going to add that jalapeno. So this gives it a little bit of kick. Now, this is a big jalapeno, guys, but I love spice and I love jalapeno, so I'm putting it all in. What you want to do when your jalapenos, we want to dice it and de-seed it. So cut the ends off of the pepper and then cut it in half lengthwise. Generally, we use jalapeno gloves to protect our fingers because the heat can cause your fingers to hurt, but we've misplaced them. So I am like just being brave today for this, guys. Then what I like to do is I like to take a spoon and just run it down the inside, and it removes all the membranes and the seeds from the jalapeno. How do you guys, let me know in the comments below how you guys tell if a jalapeno is spicy or not. My daughter was making salsa the other day and she was asking me, and I told her that I like to smell it. And you can smell if it's like extra spicy or not. I don't know, maybe that's in my head, but that's what I've always done. Like this one is not smelling super spicy, so that's why I'm okay putting the whole thing in there. But if yours is smelling strong and spicy, you may want to just put half, just depending on how sensitive your palate is. Okay, so once the seeds are removed, I'm going to dice it into pieces that fit into the chopper blades. And I'm going to put this right into the chopper and add it to all my other veggies. So what I love about this chopper, here I have some pieces stuck to this part, I'm just gonna pull it off, is it puts everything in the same little bowl. So not only do you chop it all up, but it's all consolidated for you. So now all I have to do is dump it right into the big bowl with my peas, beans, and corn. Peas, beans, and corn. I love all the color that this dip has too. It makes such a pretty dip. For like a serving plate or platter. It's so beautiful. Okay, so once you got them all together, then you just stir to combine all these ingredients. And the only thing we have left to add is the tomatoes. So let's get those diced up and add it in. Now it's time for the tomatoes. So I do this separately because I don't want to use the chopper for these. You can put tomatoes in the chopper, but I want these a little bit bigger for this dip. So I'm going to do them separately. For this recipe, we love using cherry tomatoes, and it's about a pint. Now this container at my store was 2 pints, so I'm just going to use half of this, and it's going to be great. Oops, one fell, that's okay. I'm going to just do a quick rinse to rinse them off, and then we're going to get them diced up here. Perfect. So I love quartering these for this recipe. So just dice them in half. Well, actually, while I'm looking at it, I think I want to do it one more. So half it and then quarter those to make them really good size for a chip. Once the tomatoes are all diced in, add it to the bowl and just be careful when mixing them in because you don't want them like squish them. So that's why I usually add them last, but you do you. And then you just want a spatula or a spoon would work just to carefully stir it all together. Ooh, this already smells and looks amazing. I can't wait to eat it. And then last but not least, we pour that dressing that we set aside right on top. And we just coat all the ingredients with the dressing. Now we're gonna add some cilantro. I just like to pull off the leaves. You can kind of just take it and pull them off if you would like. We need about a half a cup. You can just do a bunch. What's great about this dip is that if you don't love cilantro, you can just leave this out. Because I know some people have that gene where it tastes like soap. So I just mix it together and then chop it right on up. My sister just told me this tip off the video, so I wanted to show it to you. If you're not getting a lot of leaves off, just take your knife and run it down and it'll pull a lot of the leaves off the stem for you. Because we want quite a bit of cilantro in this. It's a half a cup chop, so we want to get it all those leaves off. And we're just going to run our knife through it. I like to not run my knife through it one way, and then I flip my knife and run it through it the other way to get it all nice and chopped up. Ooh, it smells great. Let me know in the comments who likes cilantro and who doesn't. I know it's kind of a hot topic. People that hate it really hate it. I have 2 of my friends that have the gene where it tastes like soap, so I'm always like super aware of when they're going to be at gatherings and I don't bring stuff with cilantro in it for them. We're just going to add that right in with our other items and then stir it to get it well incorporated. After it's been refrigerated, it's ready to serve. Now, you can serve it like this. I just want to put it in like a little bit of a cleaner, prettier bowl for aesthetic purposes, but you do you. And you could put it in this bowl and refrigerate it. That's a little bit heavier than it looks. I'm just going to pick it up, spoon it in. Here we go. And then I serve this with chips. Chips are the way to go. It has so many veggies and flavors that you don't need to serve it with anything else. And the chips add a layer of saltiness that makes this taste even better. Like, come on, look how gorgeous it already is. All right, friends, I cannot wait to try it. It looks and it smells amazing. Ooh, look how pretty it looks. Now, I like to make this the day I'm gonna serve it. The veggies will get kind of mushy and soft with that dressing. If you wanna make it ahead of time, you could chop all your veggies the day before and then just make the dressing and coat it 30 minutes before you're gonna serve it. That just makes sure that your veggies are nice and crisp when you're serving this to guests or for your family. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. If you try this recipe, please leave us a comment at the bottom of the recipe. We love hearing from you guys. And until then, I will see you guys next time in my sister's kitchen. Bye, friends. It's delicious.